everybody, it's Jess and welcome back, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am here to talk about the books that I am planning to read in October, or more specifically, the books that I am going to read for the Spooktober readathon. This is the third round of Spooktober, the third year that this readathon is taking place. It is hosted by Rylane Reads, and I will link her channel down below for you guys so you can go and check her out, and also I will link her Spooktober announcement video for you as well, so you can learn about the readathon, the prompts, the rules and all of that fun stuff. This is the third time I am participating in this readathon and I have enjoyed it immensely every single time I've taken part. It runs throughout the entire month of October and it's just a great opportunity to read some spooky books, some thrillers, some mysteries, and just have a bit of fun and get in the spooky spirit of things. There are 3 teams in this readathon. We've got Team Ghost, Team Serial Killer, and Team Zombie, and each team is competing to win, essentially. For every book that you read, you will gain a certain number of points. For every page you read, you will also gain a point. For every team book you read, you'll gain bonus points. And it's always fun to try and predict which team is going to win, and it's just, yeah, a lovely healthy bit of competition. This year I am on Team Serial Killer, last year I was on Team Zombie. So Team Ghost read mysteries primarily, Team Zombie read horror primarily, and Team Serial Killer read thrillers. I am on Team Serial Killer this year. I was on Team Serial Killer in the first year, and then last year I switched to Team Zombie because I was really into horror and reading all of those great books. But this year I've switched back to Team Serial Killer because I want to get back into thrillers. I want to go back to my roots. Thrillers are the books that initially got me into reading all those years ago, and I just want to go back to that and have fun with it. I've got a lot of thrillers that I want to read, so this is the perfect opportunity to do that. So without further ado, let's talk about the books that I'm planning to read. So for every team we have prompts. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 prompts each, and then a couple of team books. The first prompt is to read a poll pick. So we choose some books, doesn't matter how many books, we just choose some books that we might like to read, and we put them on our social medias or on the Discord server, and people vote, and the book that gets the most votes is the one that you will read. Every team has this prompt, and the 2 books that I put up for voting are these ones. We've got The Other Black Girl. This is by Zakiya Dalila Harris. I have heard absolutely incredible things about this book. It has themes of racism in it and harassment. We're following a 26-year-old editorial assistant called Nella, who is tired of being the only black employee at the place she works. She then befriends a new woman called Hazel who starts working next to her, and then Nella gets a very sinister note telling her to leave the company. She suspects Hazel, and yeah, a lot of suspicions arise, a lot of tension, and it just sounds really good. And then the other one is 3 Assassins. This is by Kotaro Isaka. This is set in Japan, and we are following 3 assassins. We are also following a man called Suzuki, whose wife is murdered, and he discovers the criminal gang responsible and then goes after them, and it's these 3 assassins. We've got the whale, the cicada, and the pusher. And this guy Suzuki thinks he can take them on, so that sounds kind of fun. I have a feeling I know which one of the 2 is gonna win, but I might be pleasantly surprised. But yeah, I don't know which one it is yet at the time of filming, so we'll have to wait and see. So the next prompt is to read a book featuring a copycat killer, and for that I have gone with A Flicker in the Dark. This is by Stacey Willingham, And this is a pretty recent release. I've heard some really good things about it. It has a very high rating on Goodreads. It's got 4.02 stars or something like that. And this is about a woman called Chloe. She is a psychologist, and 20 years earlier, when she was 12, these 6 girls from her small town in Louisiana disappeared, and her father was arrested for their murder, and she's been led to believe that he is a serial killer. And then in present day, a similar thing starts happening. Some girls start going missing, and it unravels a lot of the past for her. It brings up a lot of things, and we learn whether her dad was in fact responsible or not. And yeah, like I said, I've heard really good things about this. It sounds very interesting. The next prompt is to read a book in an isolated setting. So I've got 2 options for this again, because I don't really know which one I want to go for. I want to read both, so I might read both. But the first one is Bullet Train. Again, this is by Kotaro Isaka, who wrote 3 Assassins. And this has been made into a movie this year, which I've heard is actually really bad. But this one is set on a bullet train in Japan, and there are 5 assassins on that train. And I think they're all out to get each other or something, or they're all on a similar kind of mission, or maybe the same mission. And then when they realise that they're on the same train, things get out of hand. It sounds very tense, very fast paced, and I feel like I would love it. And then the second book that I might read for this prompt is Falling by TJ Newman. And this is set on a flight to New York. The pilot's family has been kidnapped, and the kidnappers are saying, to get your family back, you have to kill everyone on the plane. And that's all I really know about it, but it sounds very intense. I think I'm gonna love this one. I've been wanting to read this one for quite some time. I don't actually know anyone who's read this, so it'd be interesting to see what I think of it. But yeah, I might read both of those, like I said, or I might just read one. It depends what I fancy at the time. The next prompt is to read a book featuring an unreliable narrator, and I've gone with American Psycho. This is by Bret Easton Ellis, and this is a classic book, one that I've been wanting to read for so long. It's one of those books that's very controversial, especially when it was first released all those years ago. It was banned in a lot of countries, and I'm very intrigued to know why. I know it features heavily on sexual assault and abuse and drug use. But we are following a man called Patrick Bateman. He's quite young, he's in his 20s, he works on Wall Street, and he comes into some money, and he goes a bit mad with that because he is a psychopath. And I love reading about fucked up characters and getting inside their minds and seeing how they justify themselves. I think this book is going to have a lot of things to say on like society back then and the lifestyle of people who worked within that industry. I think it's going to have a lot of really interesting social commentary, so I'm really looking forward to delving into this one. Next is to read a book featuring the stalker trope, and I love the stalker trope so much. I've read so many good books featuring stalkers, and hopefully this one will be exactly what I'm looking for. It is Watching You by Lisa Jewell, and I'm really excited for this one actually. And I picked this one as a little homage to the first ever book that I read for the first ever Spooktober back in 2020. I read a Lisa Jewell book, my first ever Lisa Jewell book, and I absolutely loved it. I haven't read anything by her since, but I know she is very popular. So I'm really looking forward to delving into this one. This one is about a woman who comes back after working abroad for 4 years, and she meets the man next door. She gets an unhealthy obsession with him, but she is also being watched by someone, and it just sounds like it's going to bring out all the paranoia in me, and I can't wait. And then the last prompt is to read a book featuring dual timelines, and there are a few books that I could have gone for this prompt, but ultimately I decided to go with The Dead Wife by Sue Fulton. So those of you who have been following me for a while, since I started my booktube journey actually, I mentioned this book a lot because I always said I was going to read it, and I never did because I'm terrible. But I've had this book on my shelf for about 3 years now, and it is time to get to it. It is long overdue. This is about a man whose wife is found dead in a lake on holiday. She's been drowned, and initially they think it's an accident, but then things come to light and it turns out it wasn't an accident. I guess people start to suspect him, and he's telling his story, his version of events, and it kind of flicks back to 2 years earlier before her death and then back to present day. So yeah, dual timelines. I don't know anyone who's read this, so I don't know what anyone's kind of said of it. I've not looked at reviews for it. It's one of those kind of obscure thrillers that no one really mentions, but yeah, I need to get to it, so why not this month? Alright, and then lastly we have the teen books. Now, one of the teen books I have read, I can't remember the name of it, I can't remember which book it is, but I know that I have read it quite recently. I'll put it up here. But there is another teen book for teen serial killer that I have wanted to read for a while, so this is the perfect excuse to get to it, and that is They Never Learn by Lane Fargo. So this is about a woman who is an English professor at a university, and she is also a serial killer, and basically every year she picks one guy from the university, I think it's like a staff member or something, and she plots their demise and kills them. And that's all I know about it. But it sounds really good, really messed up. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I've heard great things about this one as well. And yeah, I might have to read this one first actually, because it's just really calling to me right now. But yeah, looking forward to it, as with all of these books. Alright guys, so that is the end of my Spooktober TBR. I'm really excited for this readathon. I'm really excited for October in general. It is my favourite month of the year, my favourite time of the year, and I'm just looking forward to getting stuck into those thrillers, being surprised, being paranoid, being grossed out, all of those wonderful things that I like to feel at this time of the year. With reading, obviously, not in like real life situations, because that would be weird, but anyway, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. As always, please feel free to leave any comments down below letting me know if you've read any of the books that I've talked about in today's video and what you thought of them, whether you agree with me or not. I always love to hear what you guys have to say. Please feel free to leave a cheeky thumbs up if you like this video, because it does really help with my channel and I really appreciate it. You can also subscribe, hit the bell button, so you will be notified every single time I do upload. And having said all of that, I will see all of you lovely people in my next video very soon. Bye guys.